Published 12:19 EDT, the 3rd of September 2017. Updated 12:36 EDT, the 3rd of September 2017. The editor of Grazia magazine has described how she is still traumatized by the birth of her daughter, after being failed by a bias towards having a natural labor. Natasha Perlman, 35, said she hurt for months after her daughter Rose was delivered using forceps. She described how she had to beg a doctor for morphine while having contractions, after being refused a bed on the labor ward. Grazia editor Natasha Perlman, 35, admits that she is still traumatized by the birth of her daughter Rose, now 3, pictured together writing about the birth in the Times. She said it seemed as if they had made the decision, without consulting me, to push me to the absolute limit to deliver the baby naturally. Describing how she felt after the arrival of the daughter, who was born in March 2014, Natasha said, I was cut. I was stitched up. I couldn't sit down without a rubber ring supporting me, so utterly humiliating for at least 4 weeks. I had hemorrhoids. I bled. I hurt for months, physically and emotionally. I was antidepressed. I was in shock. I felt, I suppose, like a failure. I also felt I had been failed. The magazine editor said the National Childbirth Trust (NCT) antenatal classes left her fearing all medical intervention, including an epidural, and said the classes were fundamentally no longer fit for purpose. She described how she had to beg a doctor for morphine while having contractions and said she hurt for months after her daughter was delivered using forceps. Natasha left is pictured with former Vogue editor Alexandra Shulman and Glamour editor Joelle Vinci. Said there was also an assumption by midwives that she wanted a natural birth, with no other options discussed. Sarah McCullum, head of knowledge at the NCT, told The Times it was not acceptable for someone to leave an antenatal class feeling uninformed or fearful of birth. Mile Online has contacted the NCT for further comment. It comes as the Royal College of Midwives announced that it was backing down on their decade-long campaign for natural childbirth earlier this month, because they say it makes women feel like failures. Natasha said the National Childbirth Trust (NCT) antenatal classes left her fearing all medical intervention, including an epidural. This means pregnant women will no longer be told that they should give birth without medical intervention. The organization said it wants to avoid giving the impression that interventions such as cesareans and epidurals are abnormal. However, Kathy Warwick, chief executive of the Royal College of Midwives, denied that the campaign for normal birth, which has run since 2005, has compromised the safety of women and unborn children. The magazine editor says she was left feeling like a failure following the birth of Rose. However, she says she also feels that she was failed.